We are less than 24 hours away from seeing the brand new iPhone 15 at Apple's Wonderlust event. And in this video, I want to give you some last minute leaks and rumors to get you prepared and completely spoil the event for you. And of course, I will be live streaming the event tomorrow here on my channel, so I will leave the link to that live stream down in the description below. Make sure you come over and hang out with us. It's always a good time. Okay, so let's first talk about the pricing, because this is perhaps the #1 rumor, leak, whatever you want to call it, that we've heard for the past 3 or so months. Everybody has said that we're going to see a price increase for the Pro and the Pro Max, but now we're hearing that might not actually be the case. According to TrendForce, only the Pro Max model will be receiving a price bump this year and not the regular smaller Pro model. They're predicting that the iPhone 15 Pro will start at the same $999 in the US, which is the same price as the 14 Pro, whereas the 15 Pro Max will start at $1199 in the US, making it $100 more than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So why might the iPhone 15 Pro remain at that $999 price tag? Well, because TrendForce is also reporting that the Pro and Pro Max will continue to start with 128 gigabytes of storage, not the 256 that we heard rumored beforehand. And many people speculated early on that the price increases this year are going to be due not only to the more expensive components, but also because a lot of people thought we were going to start at 256 gigabytes, but it looks like that might not be the case. I personally think that the Pros should come with 256 as the base storage option, especially as the camera, gets enhanced year after year and the file size of those photos gets bigger and bigger year after year. However, there is good news here, because TrendForce is also expecting the RAM to be increased from 6 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes on the Pro and the Pro Max. And Gurman also seems to agree with this, because he said this year's Pro models will get a faster A17 chip built on the new 3nm process and additional memory. He also mentions that all of the new iPhones, including the base 15, will get a new U2 chip. And this is going to be the first new Apple ultra-wideband chip since the U1 in the iPhone 11 Pro in 2019. So this, of course, will lead to improved location capabilities. And speaking of Gurman, we also have some final tidbits on the retail side of things. So he said this on Twitter, or X: low/no stock of Apple Watch Ultras, watch bands, leather cases, MagSafe wallets, iPhone 12 and 13 minis, and the Pro phones. Merchandise is resetting on the evening of September 12th, which is the day of the event, with manager call set for after event. And he says that is uncharacteristic for event days. He says there's going to be a plan to push USB-C bricks, and then he finalizes this by saying that Apple will also push in-store setup further more than prior years, as it's implementing new software and employee metrics to track this. Now, there's a couple of key notes here, and #1 is going to be the 13 mini potentially being discontinued. I know it's a fan favorite for the very few out there who love this phone, including me. I love the 13 mini, but it looks like we might finally see it be discontinued on Apple's website. So if you want one, grab one ASAP. He also mentions low or no inventory of the Apple Watch Ultra, which basically confirms that we are indeed going to be seeing an Apple Watch Ultra 2 at this event, most likely in that dark or black colorway. And then here's perhaps the most interesting one that I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by at this event, and that is that the leather accessories are being put out of stock on Apple's website. And this indicates that Apple will indeed be moving away from genuine leather for their iPhone cases and for their watch bands. Now, also, all Hermes bands were removed from the Apple Store as well. So we kind of saw this last year, and they ended up, coming out with new ones after the event. But since Apple's getting rid of genuine leather, we might actually see the Hermes collaboration end. Although I think the more likely scenario is that Hermes just, releases a new type of accessory, maybe not genuine leather, maybe something else. And by the way, speaking of those accessories, I mentioned leather, how Apple's going to be switching from the leather to the new fine woven material, but that's not all, because it looks like Apple is also going to discontinue all of its silicone accessories and replace them with a more eco-friendly solution. And this is expected to include accessories like the silicone iPhone case with MagSafe, the Apple Watch Sport Band, the Solo Loop, and the AirTag Loop. So it looks like we're going to see a major change in Apple's in-house accessories, their own Apple branded accessories. So we don't know if it's going to be better or worse yet. We're going to have to wait and see. I will be getting those cases to see, if they are better or worse than the previous generation, the silicone and the genuine leather. But, I don't know. They weren't very good in my opinion previously, so I think we can only get better from here. And then speaking of accessories and USB-C, see, Majin Buu just recently shared this fake USB-C model of the MagSafe battery pack over on X. So this could be hinting at a new MagSafe battery pack coming from Apple with USB-C on the bottom instead of Lightning. And then remember how we were all getting excited a couple weeks ago about the color matching braided cables coming in the box of all iPhone 15s? Well, yeah, we should have known that was too good to be true, because now it looks like that's not happening. According to Majin Buu's source, the iPhone 15s will come with a 1 meter white USB-C cable, but that the colored cables will still be available, just sold separately. And he says that they're not going to be the ones that we've seen floating around on social media, the ones that he shared previously. They're going to look a little bit different. Now, when it comes to the Pro models, Mark Gurman is saying that Apple is really going to be trying to push everybody to the Pro and Pro Max this year, which they do that pretty much every year. But I guess this year it's going to be more intense than previous years. And, you know, the Pro Max is going to look mighty tempting for many customers, because for the first time since the iPhone 12 in 2020, there's an actual difference in the Pro and Pro Max aside from the display and the battery size, and that of course is the periscope lens. Now this will likely lead to double the optical zoom of the iPhone 14 Pro, or the iPhone 15 Pro I should say, because we're going to go from 3x to potentially 6x on the optical zoom, which is going to be a big difference. And especially when it comes to digital zoom, we might see digital zoom up to 30x. So that could be pretty impressive, and I'm sure Apple's going to show that off on stage. And then speaking of the Pro Max model has always been super heavy and bulky, but this year, with the change to titanium, we might be seeing a massive difference in weight, because this could be the lightest iPhone since the iPhone XS. Gurman is reporting a roughly 10% weight reduction by going titanium, which would make the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max weigh around 185 grams and 216 grams respectively. And if that's true, this would make the iPhone 15 Pro the lightest Pro model since the XS, and the 15 Pro Max the lightest Max model since the XS Max. So even if these numbers are slightly off, you can see on the charts here, this is still going to be the lightest, Pro iPhone in years. And Mac Rumors even gave us the full dimensions and weight numbers expected for the 15 lineup, including the regular 15 as well. And you can see the numbers compared to the 14s, not much different on the regular 15s, but for the Pros, it looks like they're going to be thicker, but not as wide or as long, and they are going to weigh noticeably less, as we just discussed. And by the way, the switch to titanium is going to make the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max much more durable as well. Like, the stainless steel is already pretty durable, but this titanium is going to make it even more durable. And I think you might start seeing people rocking less bulky cases. Like, you're not going to need as bulky of a case to protect your phone, in theory, for these titanium Pro models. And when it comes to the iPhone 15 Pro Max specifically, it looks like that's going to be the focal point of this Apple event as a whole, and it's going to be the main selling point over the other iPhone 15 models. And thanks to Mac Rumors, we have the expected specs, the very specific specs for the cameras. And you can see for the 15 and 15 Plus, the main camera is going to have that 48 megapixel image sensor with an f1.6 aperture, and the ultra-wide camera is going to have a 12 megapixel sensor with an f2.4 aperture. And then the 15 Pro is going to have a 48 megapixel main camera with a Sony IMX803 image sensor with an f1.78 aperture. The telephoto is going to be a 12.7 megapixel camera. Ultra-wide is going to be a 13.4 megapixel camera, and that's going to have an f2.2. And then the iPhone 15 Pro Max is going to have the same main camera as the 15 Pro, but the telephoto is going to be the same in terms of the megapixels and aperture, but it's going to have that periscope lens, which is going to lead to 6x optical zoom and 30x digital zoom. And then the ultra wide camera looks like it's going to be the same as the 15 Pro. So the main difference, of course, is going to be in that telephoto lens, more specifically when it comes to zooming. Now, switching gears to the Apple Watch, of course, every year when we get the new iPhones, we also get a look at the new Apple Watches. And this year is going to be no different. However, they are going to be significantly less exciting than the new iPhones. So it looks like the big change and the big focus this year is going to be on performance improvements, since the Series 9 and the Ultra 2 will get the first new chip upgrade since the Series 6 in 2020. And Gurman says that the watches users will also get various sensor and internal component upgrades with a focus on speed, efficiency, and accuracy, including a new version of Apple's optical heart rate sensor. So it looks like we are going to see some nice improvements for both the Series 9 and the Apple Watch Ultra 2, but of course if you have a Series 8 or an Ultra 1, you're probably not going to want to upgrade this year. This is going to be more meant for people who have like a Series 6 or older even. And then the other new product that we're most likely going to see at this event is going to be a USB-C case for the AirPods Pro. So we're not expecting any changes to the AirPods Pro. We're just expecting the case to be changed from having Lightning at the bottom to having USB-C at the bottom to charge now. Now, of course, we could also get a surprise at this event and see like a new iPad or something like that, but it looks less likely by the day that a new iPad is going to be coming at this event. It looks like we're only going to be seeing the new iPhones, the new Apple Watches, and that USB-C pair of AirPods. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. These are the last minute leaks and rumors surrounding the Apple iPhone 15 Wonderlust event. Again, I will be live streaming this event over here on YouTube, so make sure you are tuned in and check it out. It's always a good time in there. But if you enjoyed this video and you're glad that I spoiled the event for you, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. And of course, iOS 17 videos coming very soon. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.